Welcome to By All Means Necessary Real Recovery Talk. I'm Marco Murillo. I'm a grateful recovering addict. This is episode 7. We have a special guest in the studio today, a good friend of mine, Manny. Manny has 10 and a half years clean. How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing great this morning, man.
It's good to see you.
No, absolutely. Same here,
Good to see you, man. Just a quick backstory. We met about 2 years ago. You were sharing your experience, Strength and Hope, at a meeting, and I remember I was at the meeting. I was sitting at the meeting, and after you shared, I was like, "Fuck, man, I gotta come talk to this guy." And it wasn't about your story. It was about what you've accomplished, like what you set your mind out to do, and how you did it. And then another huge relatable thing was about being a father. And that brought tears to my eyes because I have a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. And having that experience, being clean and being able to have a relationship with your children or your daughter. I mean.
That's, yeah.
All right, bro. So you ready to chop it up?
Absolutely, man.
All right, man. Let's tell. Where were you born? Where are you from?
Man, I was born in Havana, Cuba.
Okay.
I came to this country when I was 8 or 9 years old. It was the 1980, the Mariel boat lift. It was the Tony Montana era.
Okay. Yeah.
Miami was starting to get a little crazy, but I was a good kid, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just came here with my family and. Chasing the American dream.
What was your family life like? You had your mom and dad?
Yeah, man. My family life was definitely not the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
Father was an alcoholic, abusive. My father didn't have a father, so that generational curse, was transmitted over to me. He did the best he could with what he knew.
Right.
But he was still a great father.
Okay.
The effort was there. And my mom, she took a lot of it for a lot of years, man, from my dad. Real loyal to him until, they got a divorce finally after 22 years of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched the beatings and I watched the alcoholism. One of the things that I do remember early in my childhood was visiting my dad in prison.
Okay. What was that like?
It was a Cuban prison, so, these things were like dungeons. And I told myself that, I never wanted to be in a place like this as a young kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And little would I know. That was pretty much my childhood, man.
So what in terms of like you graduated high school?
I got my GED in prison.
Okay, so how did you end up there? What happened?
Um,
Because I think you were saying you had something like over 40 felonies.
yeah, man.
What age was this? When did this all start happening?
Well, I first started doing drugs at about the age of 11, 12 years old. I started, experimenting the typical marijuana, drinking. I remember old Schaefer's beer, man. They were $1.99 for a 6-pack. You couldn't go wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as a kid, man, we would all chip in and go get on our BMX bikes and, go to Overtown or wherever and go cop, nickel and dime bags back in the days of marijuana. But, eventually I graduated. Went from that to... At the age of 13, I tried crack cocaine for the first time.
This is like in the pandemic. This is like when it was hot. This is like when it was coming out, right?
83, 84, man.
Okay.
And
what was that like? Do you remember that? Like that whole experience, the first time that?
Man, do I was already an aggressive young man just with the marijuana experience. I would rob and steal like there's no tomorrow just to be able to have my reefer.
Okay.
when I tried crack cocaine at that age, it was like the hawk came out in a teenager form. That's when my life of institutions kind of started to take place immediately. You know, as a juvenile, you know, my arrests became more common in and out of juvenile detention center, in and out of state programs, state school, alternative schooling.
Right.
Because the regular school couldn't put up with me. And it was right about 1988. All remedies exhausted in the Dade County system. My family decided to move to West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
You know, that geographical
How'd that work out?
Hey, it's funny you say that. That's my favorite, my sponsor's favorite. You know, how'd that work out for you, man?
Oh, yeah?
But it was, you know, I remember it was 1988, and I was in a juvenile program in Miami, and I got transferred from that program to another program in Palm Beach County. And a lot of people wouldn't make nothing of the word transfer. You know, what is a transfer? It's being picked up and taken from one place to another. In this case, it was, you know, to another treatment center here in Palm Beach County. But that word became a real common part of my life years later. So I come over here, and like most people early in recovery, we do good for like 50 cents, say, just a little bit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had that little bit syndrome.
Okay.
And, you know, did well for like 5 months or 6 months. I got introduced to, you know, 12-step fellowship.
Okay. Was this NA or AA?
Yeah, NA. And, you know, things were well, man. And once again, you know, I took my will back and found myself in a really dark place real quick here in Palm Beach County. I was 17 and I was arrested. My arrests were, you know, property crimes, grand thefts, burglaries, dealing in stolen properties.
So you're like boosting just to get...
Yeah, no, yeah. I was breaking into people's homes, you know, and there were a lot. And unfortunately, you know, I was in front of a good judge, but, you know, her hands were tied because I had pending warrants in Broward County as well. So, you know, Judge Lupo didn't have much of a choice but to sentence me, and she gave me 15 years here in Palm Beach County.
15 years?
Yeah, at the age of 18. By that time, I was 18 already. And I was then transferred to Broward, where Judge Moe gave me 3.5 years, 3 of it mandatory, running consecutive to the 15 years that I already had.
Wow.
So I was 18 years old, and I was sentenced total 18.5 years. You know, and I was dumbfounded. I was like, how the hell did I get here? And that's where I started to learn about that key word I mentioned earlier, transfers.
Okay.
You know, I did a lot of transfers throughout the state of Florida, from prison camp to prison camp. You know, I want to share this because it's ironic. About a month and a half ago, I went to Dade Juvenile Detention Center to go speak to the juveniles there.
Right.
I hadn't been there in 30-plus years. Place hadn't changed.
Really?
Yeah. You know, a bunch of little knuckleheads running around. And when I was there, I told these kids an experience that I had when I was there. And the experience was, I must have been like 15 years old, 16 years old, and there was this guy who also came in to speak, but he was a prisoner.
Okay.
He was an inmate at one of the correctional facilities in Miami, and he came to do work. They brought him to work at the detention center.
Okay.
And this was during Christmas. And this gentleman looked around the unit. It was Unit 6. We wore green uniforms. And he looked around the unit and he said, must have been like 20-something of us. He says, one or two of you guys are going to change your lives and never get in trouble again. Then he said, some of y'all are going to die before you reach 21. And then he said, the rest of y'all are going to end up in a system called Department of Corrections before you're 20. And, you know, after I got sentenced and I went to my first camp, I went to a youthful offender camp.
Right.
Half of that unit was there. It all comes to fruition, man, when you know, the way that I was living. You know, I tell people, you know, there's a certain system to, you know, the way we're supposed to live. You know, it's elementary school, middle school, high school. From high school on off to college.
Right.
Mine's was, you know, middle school, you know, detention center for me. You know, high school, you know, I got my GED in prison.
Right.
And then my college, you know, my University of Life was Department of Corrections. And that's not the way that it was supposed to be.
Right.
But it was. And I adapted.
How did you adapt?
You know, people ask me this a lot, man. How the hell did you
I've
do?
heard you told me, but I want for the
You
listener,
know.
I want everybody to know, like this is good stuff.
You know, the first thing I'm going to say is we don't know how strong we are till we have no choice but to be strong.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, you know, looking back, you know, it was tough the first few years.
You're 18.
Yeah.
18.
18, and, you know, I still had a sense of family, and I missed them, and I had a little baby sister, and she was like a year old, you know, so it sucked, man, you know, being away. And, you know, there were moments where I was 18 hours away from my house in some of these prisons that they would transfer me to. And it was cold, you know, it was gray, you know, Panhandle, Florida, man, it's, you know, the society there is not like South Florida. You know?
Right, yeah.
So the correctional officers, you know, the treatment wasn't what you would expect from a human being towards other people. But, you know, I blended, man. You know, having been in and out of juvenile programs, it was like, I ain't going to say God was building me, but I kind of built myself towards, you know, always being around in dorms, being counted, you know, being told when to go eat, when to go to sleep. And the mind, you know, kind of just shifts itself to whatever circumstance, you know, you're in.
Right.
And the best way that I can put this together is, you know, I remember when I was giving my first dog and I was scared shitless. I tried to give my dog away twice.
Really?
Yeah, this is years ago. And both times they brought him back. And I had this friend, a lady, she told me, Manny, don't worry about it. Dogs are creatures of habits. Boom. Freaking light bulb lit up.
Yeah.
Creatures of habits. Are dogs really the only ones who are creatures of habits? I think that addicts are so much creatures of habits.
Yeah, man.
Humans, period. Yeah. I remember when I bought my first house, I passed my exit every day going back to my old place.
Yeah.
Forgetting that I'm in a new place. So I became a creature of habit. You have no choice. You know, until the expiration of sentence arrives, you are a creature of habit. You wake up, you eat breakfast, you go to work, you know, they call count time in the compound. You come back in, you get counted, you go eat lunch, and it's repetitive, year in, year out.
Were you clean this whole time you were in?
You know, I was, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I'll never forget. I was clean in prison. I was clean.
You were
for
clean in prison?
7 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks.
You fucking remember that?
To the day.
The day.
Because I relapsed.
In prison?
Yeah, on my birthday.
After seven and a half
years. Yeah, after 7 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks, I relapsed. It was my birthday. I'll never forget. I was in an open bay dorm with like 150 people. And I had a buddy named Felix Grace, Jamaican brother from Carroll City, Miami. And we played chess every night. But Felix smoked weed every night before he came and played chess with me. And it was my birthday, man. And I looked around me and I was like, man, you know what, man? I need, you know, it ain't gonna do no harm. Let me smoke a joint on my birthday, man. I've been in prison all this time. And I smoked a joint. And would you believe that same night at about 3 o'clock in the morning, an officer taps on my bunk. It says, DC 614173. You need to get up. You got to do a UA.
No way.
And it's summertime, man. And obviously we know the answer. I tested positive, and I had to spend the whole summer in what I like to say was hell on earth. It was so hot in solitary confinement, man. I still got PTSD from that 60 days in there, man.
You're by yourself?
By myself, 3 showers a week, man. July and August in Belgrade, Florida. You know, back then, this is not one of these private prisons that now that they're building all over the state that got AC and shit. This is the old school, built in the 50s, no AC, you know. Damn. And I was baking in there, man. So yeah, every time I picked up, I had consequences.
Yeah, most definitely.
that was the first time.
So did you keep using till you got out?
Nah.
So that was just one time,
yeah.
and then so you did your bid, and then you got out.
Yeah. I finally made it out year 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
All right. So what was that like? Did you did you go back to using then, or were you?
You know, that was not the plan. You know,
right.
And this is where it gets good. You know, it's like most of us, man. You know, we always got these great intentions in the back of our minds. Mm-hmm. Like I said, in the back of our minds. How do we bring those great intentions to the front and apply the action to bring it? So I got out of prison with great intentions, man. And, you know, it was gradually, you know, for me to get back to my drug of choice. Mm-hmm. First it was drinking, you know, little powder cocaine, and eventually, you know, it was back to crack. And,
yeah.
You know, I didn't, you know, go down spiral real fast. It was slowly. I would get high, stop, go to meetings, you know, do well.
So you were trying to work a program.
Yeah.
You were trying to.
Yeah.
You were trying to.
And,
how long did this last for?
Man, this lasted for 12 years after I got out of prison.
So you're at 2012 now.
Yeah, that was the year that I finally get clean. And
well, so what happened? Like what happened, and then what was that moment where that information came to the front? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because that's important, dude.
What happened was Manny figured out some things on his own. And the first thing that I figured was that whatever Manny was doing, it was just not working. You know, because I had tried it every which way, man. Right. I'm only going to drink. Oh, I'm going to church.
Sure, yeah.
Then at church, they told me, oh, you're a new creature in Christ. You know, you no longer an addict or an alcoholic. And, you know, me being an addict, I said, oh, really? That means I can have a beard, watch football? And you know how that ended. Yeah. You know, before that information came to the front, I have to say, man, that, you know, I always had a nugget in my spirit, and knowing that there was something else for me in life other than what I was doing. 2 years after I was released from prison, I was at the top of the world, man. I had everything that I ever dreamed of and some. And I say this humbly, man, because a lot of people think when they get clean that if they had certain things, it'll make their life easier.
Right.
You know, if I had this, I can go here. You know, and that's the biggest lie, because I was worth over $1 million 2 years after I was out of prison.
Yeah.
And I was empty inside.
Yeah.
And I ended up losing everything. And ironically, in 2012, when all that information came to the front, I found myself sleeping in my mom's couch, painting out of her garage, and being happier than I had ever been in my whole entire life.
That's amazing.
With no car, with no checking account, with no valid ID, and something else happened. Being in prison for a long time and being a slave to addiction, the ultimate price that we want is called what? Freedom. And I felt free finally, man. I got a lot of friends that have been down the same path I have, who've done a lot of time. And, a lot of us think that, we're institutionalized and state-raised. And we are, to an extent. That was trauma in our lives, being
of course,
being away for that
huge.
long. This is not 6 months in the county or a year and a day or 18 months in prison. This shit was over decades. And one of the things I realized is when I was in prison, I was more free than when I was in society.
Really?
Crazy.
How so?
Remember the word adapt?
Right.
And at this moment in my life, when I was sleeping in my mom's couch and painting out of her garage, it's when I learned that freedom is not a place or a thing, and neither is happiness. It is a state of mind. And I was actually free in prison, man, because I had a routine. I was healthy. I exercised. I knew what I had to do every day.
Right.
I was spiritually in tune. And then you step away from that into the jungle, which is society.
Yeah, people are like, the jungle, how can the society be a jungle? But most definitely is, man, when you're in active addiction.
It's a rat race.
Rat race.
And it's an active addiction in a normal life. There's a lot of people not doing drugs living in a rat race.
Of course.
Not in tune with themselves. I'll be honest, man. I'm guilty right now, man. I'm trying to get out of my own rat race. I'm not doing drugs.
Right.
But I have a lot of stuff.
We still have the character defects, man. Still have them. Just because you drop the drugs doesn't mean that you don't have that.
Yeah, and not only that, but I tell people all the time, be careful what you wish for. Because when I was clean, I wanted the car, I wanted the house, I wanted the business, I wanted the family. Well, I got that on steroids.
Yeah. No, I see it. Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, really? It's overwhelming.
So going back to you're on the couch, and this is when you had this moment in terms of you have this awareness that you're free.
Yeah, man. That
you're totally free. And do you plug into NA now? Like, do you get talk about that? What is that like? So this is where you said, this is the date.
Yeah.
I'm clean now.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's go there.
Like I mentioned, my clean day is January. You know what January is. It's the first month of the year. Mm. It's the epitome of great intentions month because it's New Year's first.
Yeah, I'm a resolution. I'm gonna drop all this shit now. I'm clean now.
And originally my clean day was January 1st, and I relapsed on the 13th and came back on the 16th. Them 2 days of relapse, I don't know what it is that transpired in them 2 days that I didn't learn in 30 plus years.
Okay.
But them 2 days were like, I'm done.
That's amazing, man. That's fucking amazing that you just.
I'm done, man. I had a day labor paycheck, little $380, $400 paycheck, and I blew it with my buddy. And Monday I went and picked up my last white key tag, and I told myself I wasn't gonna make no more excuses. I was going to go and chase my recovery, like we say.
Right.
Like we chased our dope.
Drugs, yep.
I wasn't going to worry about what I didn't have, because a lot of us get clean coming in worrying about what we don't have, and this is the only way we're going to get it. No, I wasn't trying to get a car when I got clean. I wasn't trying to get my own place when I got clean. Mm-hmm. I wanted freedom. I wanted peace. I wanted serenity. I wanted freedom from active addiction. I wanted to stop giving the dope man my money.
Yeah.
When I stopped giving the dope man my money, I gave my own self a raise in life. Imagine that. You give your own self a raise.
Yeah.
How
And that fucking freedom, dude, like that whole state of mind when once you're done, like I totally relate what you're saying. I slept for, my wife's told me it was a total of 8 days. I'm at the end, and I just told her, she didn't even know. Excuse me, she didn't even know that I was using for over 13 years cocaine. And she came in after like the second or third day, and I was like, I'm addicted to coke. But that state of mind that I was in when I was done, I had that revelation. I couldn't do it anymore. It's a fucking job being an addict. It's a job giving the dope man your money. It's a job chasing. It takes over. It evolves into something. It's a beast. It's a total beast.
You're a puppet, man.
Exactly.
It tells you which way to move, how to move, and you become accustomed to it, and that's what you. They say we used to live and live to use.
We used to live and live to use. Exactly.
You know, there was no family couldn't get in between that because I wasn't gonna allow it. You know.
Yeah. So did you do the whole? Excuse me. Did you do the whole 90 and 90? Did you do more like? Did you even do that, or you just kept going to meetings?
I just kept going to meetings, man. I might have done more than 90, and then I might have missed a day or two. Who knows, man? I don't keep track of that, man.
Yeah.
You know, what works for some may not work for others.
Right.
And, the one thing that I didn't change around was the steps. But I did tweak my program, to the extent that art was very therapeutic for me, and nowhere in the literature does it says anything about finding purpose or, being an artist.
Right.
But, that was really therapeutic for me. And I ran with that because that was the first time in years that I got in touch with that gift again. And that gift was embraced by the recovering community for it to be used in different other platforms like fundraising,
right?
Charity, me sharing my message. Who's to say that a message can only be shared by telling your story? Why can't you paint your story?
Yeah, and that's a huge part of your recovery, man. I mean, you see it all over social media, what you do.
The artwork was definitely just being an artist, man, really helped me in my recovery process.
It's therapeutic to you as well, right?
Absolutely, man.
Did you paint in prison?
Yeah, man.
You did, and then so when you got out in 2000, you stopped for 12. Okay, man, listen, and then when you got clean, then you okay, I got you. All right.
We at least for me, I only associated art when I was in an institution, detox, rehab, jail, paint the envelopes. But when you get out, you don't want to paint no more. Yeah. Who wants to paint? What I mean? I got life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what was also a kicker this time around for me to find. And I share this a lot, man, whether I'm speaking at college or sharing my story. I tell people, man, don't get clean to just get clean. And, because we're addicts, man, we're going to get bored easily. Right. 30, 60, 90 days is the common threshold that people fall off.
Yep.
Because they say, damn, this is all there is to life. No, that's not all there is to life. Now you got to find your purpose in life.
Exactly.
So you remove the drugs and the alcohol. Now you got to find what it is you want to do for the rest of your life and make it a passion.
Right.
Not everybody does that. A lot of people are good with having a 9-to-5, working, going to meetings, fellowship, and that's fine.
I mean, everybody's recovery is different, man. Everybody's recovery is different.
Me, I'm an addict. I wanted more.
Right. Can we talk about fatherhood and you being and your daughter? That's something that when I heard you share 2 years ago, that really resonated for me, man. And I think it's important that you speak about that, if that's cool.
Absolutely, man. Us, man, we're we don't come with a handbook, and I don't think mothers do either. But they they carry this child for 9 months. We don't do that. So us being a father is, it's scary, it's demanding, and we just step into it, But for me, it was, man, it was the greatest thing that happened, man, and it was the greatest pain that I've ever felt when I wasn't.
Right.
Yeah. If you really want to know the nature of this fucking beast that we're talking about,
yeah,
have an obsession while you with your child.
Yeah, man. No. I mean, you got me right now on that, dude.
Have an obsession while you are with your child. Yeah. There's no love. The obsession will be greater than the love.
It will.
You will take your child to go get dope.
Yes.
You will cut your child's being at the park with you to go get your dope.
Exactly. In the car. Yeah. No, yeah, man. I'm with you. I did it.
And
that's how fucked up this shit is, man. People don't really understand, But the whole fact is that once you have this awareness and you get clean, there's that switch, like we're talking about. It's important that all this information that you really want to do comes to the forefront, and you can be that fucking father.
Oh, man.
You can, and you could break the cycle, because that's important, dude. Like, my dad was in active addiction. He died in active addiction. My dad's dad was in active addiction. He died in active addiction. I want to break that fucking cycle. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be the same. I don't want to be that statistic. I don't want to be that. And look, I fucked up. I did some shit. I never left my children. I wasn't there mentally. But I did cop. They were with me. The dope man did come. Go here. Of course, man. Stay in the car. Go out. This, that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Of course, man. And we get labeled, oh, we're horrible fathers, or mothers. No, we're not, man. We're just sick people, man.
Yeah.
But when we do get to the forefront of this and we do switch our lives, we are not just good fathers. We become great fathers. One of the
love.
One of the most epic moments in my recovery, man, was the ability to do my daughter's Sweet 16.
Yeah,
that father-daughter dance, man.
That's dude. How did you not cry in that day?
Oh, I did, dude. I ain't cry, bro. I was I was sobbing.
Yeah.
No,
man. No, yeah.
It was and ironically, the first 9 months of my recovery, I was still not a part of my child's life. My ex-wife wouldn't. Of course, all that changed.
Yeah. You had to earn the trust, right?
Yeah.
From her.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, my daughter lives with me today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's how this is.
That's great, dude.
She clashes with her mom, and I'm here for her.
Yeah.
I can show up for her. She needs me to pick her up from work. I'm not chasing dope and don't show up like I in the past. I didn't show up for quite a few birthdays.
Yeah.
I didn't. And she was like, "Where's my dad?" And I didn't have no answer. In the second episode, I'll explain, one of the things that I've done, which is filming.
Yeah, we'll get in. Yeah, when you come back, we'll get into that. Definitely, man.
Yeah, man, fatherhood, man, is...
It's another level, dude.
It is, man.
It's better than drugs.
Absolutely.
It's fucking better than drugs. I had my wife, I don't know how I finagled it, but when I was in rehab, I had my, I was able to get them to come in, my wife and my 2 kids. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. My daughter was bawling when she came and saw me, bawling. And my son was stone-faced fucking cold, man. And I remember when I got out, my daughter was 14, and she said to me, she goes, "Yeah, I'm not going to be around if you do this again." That's daddy's little girl. You know what I'm saying? And
they know.
No, of course, yeah, man.
They put one and one together real quick and say, "This shit don't look correct."
And they're resilient, but at the same time, they know what they want. They know what they don't want.
Yeah.
But
they want their daddy, man.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Well, listen, man. I really appreciate you coming in. I like I said, you know, when you talk and everything that you do, and we'll get into it when you come back in terms of the art, what you do for the community, the halfway houses. You brought guests in here, which I appreciate. I'm very grateful that you could take the time. I know you're a busy guy to come in and do this for me and support me. And
Absolutely, man.
You want to like plug like, you know, your Instagram, or, you know, because I know you help people and they can reach out to you. Go ahead.
Absolutely, man. Facebook name is Manny Mendez. We also have a Facebook page. It's For Real Recovery, and For Real is spelled FOREEL. FOREEL. And on Instagram, it's Manny, same, For Real. Manny For Real. You can see a lot of the stuff we do, a lot of the art shows, upcoming events, film festivals, and just get, you know, a daily word of inspiration to uplift your day, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love to inspire folks. And the same token, man, it inspires me to watch others grow.
Yeah, man. It's good to see you, man. I really appreciate it. If I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. If you like this content in the video, please like it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you know of somebody that is in active addiction or in recovery, or somebody that just needs to talk, you can reach out to me, BAMN, realrecoverytalk@gmail.com.
Right.
And listen, man, we'll bring you back. It's good to see you. I appreciate you. I love you, bro.
Appreciate you too, man. Thank you.
Yep.